morning, everybody. Let us now begin with the second essayist, Joseph Addison, and we'll begin with the discussions on his essay, Meditations in Westminister Abbey. When the writer Addison is in a serious mood, he often visits Westminster Abbey. The Abbey's solemn and serious atmosphere fills his mind with an agreeable feeling of sadness or seriousness. Once he went to the Abbey and passed the whole afternoon there, amusing himself by looking at the tombs and reading the epitaphs on them. He found that most of the inscriptions gave no further information about the dead person, except that they were born one day and that they died another day, as if a person's life is compressed in these two events only, that is, of birth and death. He also saw some epitaphs which were written in such estrangement terms of praise, such extravagant terms of praise, that if the person whom they praised could listen to them, they would blush and they would feel as if they have been done injustice. There were some graves without monuments, and there were some monuments without bodies buried under them. These were in the memory of those who had died elsewhere. The modern epitaphs elegantly phrased and expressed just thoughts. Epitaphs and monuments should be made carefully, because there are two things by which a foreigner or a foreign visitor to the country would form an opinion about the culture of the country he or she visits. Epitaphs and monuments should be appropriate to the person whom they commemorate. The text of epitaphs should be submitted to the scrutiny of learned men of genius before they are used on the tombs. The English can learn a lot from the Dutch, who had a better taste for antiquity and culture in their buildings. Monuments should celebrate the achievement of the dead person and not merely describe the manner of their death. He felt that the monument erected in the honor of the great English admiral Sir Claudius Chauvel did not do justice to the brave man. And if we interpret the things written on it, we discover that the monument has done complete injustice to this person, to this brave soldier. Looking at the tombs of the great and reading their epitaphs has a chastening and purifying effect on the mind of Addison. He is not a timid or weak-minded person who begins to feel gloomy and melancholy at the contemplation of death. He is able to appreciate nature in its delightful as well as in its solemn mood. He feels compassion when he reads tombstones expressing the grief of a parent, but he sees the futility of such grief when he sees the tombs of the parents themselves. He realizes the futility of the vanities and controversies and rivalries of life when all people who indulge in such things are going to be leveled by death. Here we are reminded of Shelley's poem, Death the Leveler. That also says that death doesn't distinguish between people from on the basis of caste, creed, religion, age, or whatever kinds of discriminations that are there in this world. Mortality is common to all, whether they be beautiful or rich or great or ugly or deformed. People who died long ago lie side by side with people who died only yesterday. That is, Addison has dismissed the temporal and spatial parameters when he contemplated about death. It will be on doomsday that all these people will rise from their graves to face God, and then they will become contemporaries they would be contemporaries in the face of God. The visit to the Abbey teaches him to leave envy and inordinate desire, as they are in reality of no use. First of all, we all are human beings, and that is the only truth which moves along our lives in this world. Now I would like to discuss a few critical remarks in relation to this essay, Meditations on Westminister Abbey. Death, first of all, is a subject which he has touched upon elaborately and very practically, commenting on the manners and morals of the society, the attitudes of the society towards death. Death is a subject that interests all, in the sense that some are attracted towards it in a morbid manner and others in a philosophic manner. This essay of Addison is meditative in nature and contemplates upon mortality. The visit to the Abbey serves to pinpoint the fact that in the eyes of death, men are equal. Addison never ignores the moral instructions that can be got from any subject. The fact that all the great men and women lie in their graves side by side and over the space of years are mingled together in an undistinguishable heap of dust, which serves to chasten the heart of the observer of these tombs and monuments. One realizes the futility of the quarrels and rivalries that people indulge in while they are alive. It teaches one of the best things in the world and asks us to leave off all envies, to shed off all jealousies, the great and desiring great things, because all will one day end in death. Addison's inner nature is revealed when he tells the reader that he is always serious but never melancholic. Here we notice that though Addison's essays, the thoughts expressed in his essays are self-revelatory, yet it is not the same kind of self-revelation that Lamb indulges in. We'll be reading Lamb later on. Indulges in. Addison seems to offer himself as a kind of model to the reader. There is a sense of superiority which is delightfully absent in the confidence of Lamb. But then Addison has assumed the role of a moralist and a reformer of the follies of society. In this essay, too, he makes an attack against extravagance. He does not like the far-fetched works of praise of some which are inscribed on some of the epitaphs. He advises decorum and good taste in this matter. He is on the side of the moderation and decency and truthfulness to life and reality. Addison's skill in using language is very much apparent in the essay. The felicity and aptness of such phrases as registers of existence, magazine of mortality, and promiscuous heap of the matter of morality. It is remarkable. These are remarkably notable phrases by Addison in this essay. There is an elegance of style, and that is typically Addison's. Humor, too, is not missing from this essay. There are the satirical references to the tombs as registers of existence. He is being ironical again when he refers to the holy man who divided the world into factions. So, in this way, Addison here emerges as a commentator on the morals and manners of the society. And along with his style, which I will be discussing later on when I discuss a style, Addison has took out pamphlets or periodicals called Tetler, and in those periodicals they have serialized a few essays which constantly remind people to be elegant rather than go astray from the decency in the society. Thank you. We shall continue later on. Thank you.